campaigns had been moving peacefully until the last day. Things turned chaotic very swiftly. NTV's team has revisited Arua to speak to some of the journalists who covered the day's events. The few who could speak recounted their experience.
Now, for me, as an editor, I was also assigned by our regional editors to cover Nusrat Peru's campaign rally at Arua Hill ground. And then I was also supposed to go and cover Musema Bruce, the FDC candidate, and then also take pictures at the rally of Wadri Kasiano.
So coming to around 5 when the rallies were presumed to have ended. Then we had all these sirens going down from this side, that side, and people running up and down. So at first we didn't know what was happening. So I decided to call my first reporter who was on the ground. Later he had started to switch off his phone. Later on he came to explain to me that it was because of security reasons.
Some had already left the campaign venues to file their stories as for the day's broadcast.
Later we were told that there was an incident at Pacific Hotel.
The trouble started when supporters of the NRM candidate Nusrat Pero and those of independent candidate Kasiano Wadri met.
Wadri's team had a high number of followers who are coming back from the prison side towards the town. That's on Ediofe Road. So when they met, certainly in any political rally, when an opposition meets the ruling party, there will always be some kind of tension.
Information about the alleged stoning of the presidential car was still unclear at this point.
It was coming to 8 somewhere. This is when we started hearing that there is something like the vehicle that the police are doing, arresting opposition supporters, doing this and that. But to say that the vehicle was stoned would not get that at the first sight.
The situation turned extremely tense in most parts of Arua town.
The tear gas was everywhere. So we started taking care of whether to leave the office anywhere, but where we feel would be safe.
At around 7:40 p.m., some disturbing reports emerged from Pacific Hotel where MP Robert Kyagulanyi had checked in.
So we found there Bobby Wine's car, the Tundra, the black Tundra, and someone in because it's left-handed, in the driver's seat, with blood flowing, with a lot of security deployment.
NTV was broadcasting live with Ziwa on the microphone and Jeff Twesige and Ronald Mwanga on camera.
I put the link on my back, then I held the camera here, and Mwanga had the light. So we started covering. Then another car came in. So that car had the people who were in layer. Those are the guys who started commanding and things started messing up.
And I remember Farida Nakazwe was almost finishing the bulletin, and then we were punched in. I think I'd spoken for about 2 minutes, and then security officers came after us. They immediately came after Ronald Mwanga and stepped at him. He fell down, started screaming. I attempted to run away. But in the process, I realized that Mwanga was being finished. I chose to turn back. Little did I know that I was throwing myself into more danger.
At this point, Ziwa and Mwanga were arrested and bundled into a van parked near the hotel.
I found Mwanga had already been put there. I followed him. There's another guy who was brought after me and another person. So we were 4 people.
When the guys started beating me up, one gave me a kick on the what? On the live link behind. So I stepped out of the light. I was in the dark. From that moment, I saw people running. So I also took off. For us, we knew that Ziwa was captured, but his phone was still being used by we don't know which people, but asking for footage from us.
In the space of nearly 6 hours after their arrest, the journalists were driven to 2 unknown locations before they were finally taken to Arua police station.
That was about, I think, 2 a.m. in the night. Imagine being arrested at 8. When we reached at Arua police station, This is where we found members of parliament, the residents of Arua.
After an hour at Arua police station, the suspects were driven to another police station miles away. At Gulu police station, some of the suspects received some medical attention. What shocked Ziwa and Mwanga were the charges against them.
One was treason, another one was destruction of property.
They were later released on police bond. To date, most of the journalists who covered the Arua municipality by-election fracas say they have been receiving threats from unknown people.
They have been living in fear of doing such political stories anymore.
However, for others, the Arua incident has been a good learning point.
I have to tell the stories. Not in a biased manner, but in a very objective manner. So the events of last year did not in any way affect my career as a journalist.
I'm more vigilant than I used to be because now I see things differently, really.
Nelson Omoya, NTV.